Okay, so I'm here to talk about our virtual life code of conduct for our business, and this covers basically everything that we should adhere to when it comes to performing business practices online. I think it's very critical that this information is taken seriously as we conduct business with our consumers and other competitors online for when we are doing our business practices. So, the objectives that we'll cover today is build trust and credibility, respect for the individual, create a culture of open and honest communication, uphold the law, standards of rules, selective disclosure, conflicts of interest, and accepting business courtesies and consequences of failure to comply with any of these regulations. So the first thing is we build trust and credibility. One thing that we should do as a company is we should always depict the appropriate image of our company. I always say perception is everything, and that also applies online of how we portray our products and services. We have to make sure that we are portraying the correct identity. There's been issues in the past where people have created different avatars and they have used them to interact with customers and pretending that they haven't done that before in order to sell more products. That's not something that's ethical, so we do need to protect our identity and make sure that we are always portraying who we are and not somebody else. We have to remain honest with our consumers. I know when interacting online, we can sometimes get into the mentality of this is just online and we can get away with certain things, but we always should remain honest with our customers. And if we display integrity and focus on the company goals, then I think we are going through the right direction of making sure that we are portraying the correct perception of our company. We are also want to respect for the individual. We shouldn't discriminate based on race, age, sexual orientation, political affiliation, or religion. We should not be making early judgments on a person. We should always just perform the best customer service we can. We should not display any form of harassment or crude behavior. If there's any form of harassment, towards a customer or customer back to us, we should always report that and make sure that we take notice of it. It's not something that should be tolerated as well. We should respect each individual and treat them with the best customer service. We should, this goes back to number one, where we shouldn't discriminate, so we should treat every customer equally. We have to create a culture of open and honest communication. This company asked employees to report any unethical or inappropriate behavior. If you notice or suspect something that isn't right, please report it to Human Resources so we can get to the bottom of it. Retaliation is not allowed and will not be tolerated. If, for example, if somebody were to make you angry or create some type of issue that you may not agree with, the best thing is to report that to your manager and handle it the best way you can instead of retaliating against that action. Managers are asked to keep an open door policies for issues facing virtual involvement, so please talk to your manager if you do suspect any unlawful or unethical behavior. We should always uphold the law. We need to comply with business rules and regulations. Due to the nature of the business and legal requirements warrant specific guidelines. We should see your manager for this information. Sometimes, we have, when we're conducting business online, some of the business rules and regulations that we face in real life may not exactly apply to what we're dealing with online. So please see your manager for any issues that you may have to deal with. Also, ensure proper marketing tactics are held. We should not solicit improper payments or secretly coordinate activities with our competitors. When you're online, you're asked to do the same thing as when you are on the floor or when you're, conducting any types of business practices. Always make sure you're not soliciting any types of products out there that may be deceitful to customers, and we certainly do not want to work any with other competitors that may want to use our tactics for their gain. So, standard rules. We must comply with rules and regulations. All logins by users must be accounted for. So, for example, we are going to keep track of who is going to be on a virtual online. We want to make sure that those users have the appropriate permission to do that, and they're not just going on there just to test it out or to make any sort of business practices that's not allowed. We have training regions for that for people who do want to try it, so please see your manager for those who want to go in there and maybe just try, test it out. Users must also draft a summary of activities they have partaken in. When you're online and conducting businesses, we want to make sure that you're doing it the right way and that you're not just out there, wasting time. We want to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to do. So please make sure you write up every activity that you partake in. User must also disclose a list of customer names and services provided or offered to their managers. If you sell something to a customer, if you provide a type of service, please make a list of that so that you can turn that in with your work at the end of the day. And if any forms of payment must be recorded and must also be included with your summary to ensure that we are keeping track of what is sold online. Do not disclose business practices that occur online to any third-party individuals. Everything we do with our customers should remain private, because this is proprietary information that we handle business with. So we may want to make sure that, if we are given any social security numbers or any type of sensitive information, that we keep that private for the respect of our customers. We must confirm all presentations or proposals to customers do not contain non-public material. So if we are talking to a customer and explaining them parts of our service and we want to use examples, please make sure those examples are not, what our, sales for the last year or anything that may be, very public information that our competitors may see, because you never know online who's who. So we have to make sure any presentation or proposals, we have to adhere to certain privacy guidelines. And the next topic is conflicts of interest. We have to make sure to avoid any relationships or activities that might lead to unethical behavior. This is a big one. We are online to conduct ethical business practices. We're not there to build friendly relationships or for personal gain. We are there to conduct business properly. We do not use virtual business for personal gain or personal opportunity, meaning that we are not out there, enhancing our own career or creating more attention to ourselves, but rather for the business. If the issue arises in which the actions we take conflicts with personal or family values, raise your concern to your manager to decide how to move forward. Sometimes some ethical reasons that you may not agree with, we may not cover on here, so please see your manager for any questions. Accepting business courtesies. We should not feel entitled to receive any form of payment or gifts from consumers or other entities. We should avoid any action in which we create a perception of favorable treatment to seek any types of business courtesies. And we have to refuse a gift or payment from any consumer or supplier and raise the issue to your manager first. It's often very tempting to accept forms of payments or gifts for services like tips or any sort of payment that may not necessarily be part of our business practices, but we have to make sure to adhere to the guidelines and not create that favorable perception of ourselves, because we have to always go by what the proper thing to do. And then if there's consequences of failure to comply, The first offense would be verbal warning, and the second would be written warning. The third would be suspension, and fourth is termination. And that concludes it for our presentation today. If you have any questions, please see your manager or me after this presentation. Thank you.